What's good, fam? I'm out here in Berthoud, Colorado, and I'm going to teach you how to slob air today. This is the part that I actually learned how to slob air on, so if you have features as such or very similar to at your skate park, they're going to work just fine. And I'm excited to share this one with you because it's really fun. It's actually easy. It looks stylish. We're gonna do early grab slob airs. You can take them late, but I think it's a great idea to start early because it gives you that confidence, and that's what I'm gonna show you today. So let's get into it. So here's a good tip. Something I always do with every session is start off with a clean grip tape. If you don't know about this, check out the card. You're gonna love it. All right, so I actually learned to slob air on this quarter pipe right here. It's a little over 4 feet, and the transition is pretty steep. It's not too mellow, it's not vert, but it's steep, and it does have some nice bonky coping to help the board pop into you and off the ramp back into the transition. But you don't have to start just by going with coping. Methodical to everything that I learned. What I started learning was, first of all, how to grab slob, and cameras within reach of the board should be. So slob is normal riding stance. Front hand is gonna go around the knee, so it's tuck knee, but with the front hand, not the back. And that's called a slob air, or it's called a slob when you're going front side. If you were going back side, then it's called weddle. So heels off the board a little bit, get low, try to grab as close as you can to the middle, because that's going to help keep the board to your feet when you're pulling. But you can start by doing some slob. You can warm up doing frontside kick turns, that's great. Then you get some early grab slob kick turns. You might let go before you come in, and that's fine. You're probably gonna let go before you actually land when you're doing the trick. Those are things that get your mind ready. Then you can use some chalk lines to start drawing some pretend coping, because you can actually pull these using your legs, your front leg and your back leg and the grab, and get off the transition before you get the coping. So let's start the process with some early grab, or maybe a few frontside kick turns, and then some early grab slob frontside kick turns. Then we'll start with some chalk, work all our way up to coping, and get one or a few at least over coping for you. This is how you slob air. All right, so once you get to that part where you've done some frontside kick turns, you've done some slob kick turns, which are frontside. Slob's got to be frontside. If you go backside again, that's called weddle, formerly called mute. Anyway, the next step is to do the slob kick turn, and then at the apex of the turn, or when you're starting the turn, you want to come back in, is to suck in the back leg. The grab is keeping the board to the feet. When you suck in the back leg, you're gonna start airing. So you're gonna start getting slob airs under coping by doing that. One extra thing in addition to the slob kick turn. Let's get a few. All right, so learning tricks, it's always helpful to have chalk because it gives you something to shoot for. Whether you're looking for a direction to roll in, or a pretend coping, anything like that, it gives you a goal and something to shoot for. So once you've done some slob kick turns, the next step is to draw imaginary coping in the transition. And what you're going to focus on is riding straight through that coping, then doing the suck up and landing. And once you can get to the point where you're taking off, looking at video, it's what's so awesome about filming. When you get to the point where your takeoff point is higher than your landing, you know how to do the trick well enough, and you're sucked in long enough to send it over coping. Never go over coping if you're taking off here and landing there. And you might do that when you start out, especially in the lower transition. It's easier to take off here and land lower as you go higher up, okay? And as you hit the coping. But first, mentally, I kind of looked, I'm somewhere around here. So I'm gonna draw a pretend coping. And what I'm gonna do is get at least 2 or 3 where in my mind, I'm going bonk, bonk, then doing the air, and hopefully I'm landing lower. I might not be, and that's only because I don't have the lift off that I need, because it's not vertical enough. There's no vert here, but it's not vertical enough for me to do that. I can't suck in long enough to land lower. Let's try some. All right, so just looked at the film, and I was taking off roughly here-ish and landing roughly here-ish. So I'm landing below my pretend coping. I'm gonna draw another line here. We're gonna go through that one and then see if maybe we go through coping. You out, man? Yeah, hey, later, bro. Nice meeting you, man. Yes, sir.
So keep strong on the classes, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, thank you. All right, so we got the next coping here, and I'm gonna go bunk bunk in my mind through that coping. I don't care if I'm over it, I just wanna make sure I roll through it. And then wherever I pull off, I'm gonna look at the film. If I pull off here, let's say, I don't know, using it as an example, and I'm landing here, or here even, well, actually, I would like to land below the pretend coping, but as long as I'm landing lower, I'm in a good spot. I don't want to take off here and land there like we said in the previous section. All right, let's get another one. Here's our coping. Let's see where we take off and where we land. All right, so review the video. The first one was fine. I actually bonked through the coping with the front wheels, not the back. But I took off here, landed below. The second two, for whatever reason, I didn't let the front bonk through. Maybe I tried to pull off too early. But anyway, I didn't like those because I was landing too close to coping. So I'm gonna get at least 2 or 3 more and take a look. If I'm taking off above and landing below, we're gonna go up higher. All right, so those last ones were all above and below. The landing on the last one was kind of wonky. I think that's more because I'm in my head trying to focus on landing lower, and I'm just overthinking things as I'm doing the tutorial. But it's okay, it's good to stay conscious. What we're gonna do now is just get way more speed and hit through coping, suck it up and go for it. You can continue to inch up as high as you want to feel comfortable, but to conserve energy, we've made our point with the chalk, and it's time to just go for coping. Let's do it. All right, we got our first one where we hit coping. Actually hit coping with 3 wheels. The heel side rear wheel never went over coping, but I still caught air and was able to land a good 4 to 6 inches below coping. Let's add some more speed and be a little less timid and go for it. All right, so on that one, we barely squeaked over coping, but we got it over. Landed in under coping. Might move the camera to a different angle just to get some different views of it. And maybe a head-on one, me coming out completely over coping would be great for a thumbnail too. Let's keep working. That was it. All right, fam, let's gonna wrap it up for this one. Remember, you start with the front side kick turns. You start with the slob early grab kick turns. Then you add pulling the back leg off the ramp at the apex of the movement. Then you start drawing your pretend coping and going straight through. Do your air, try to land below coping. You draw it up as much as you want. You can creep up to coping, and then when you feel ready, you're gonna blast through the coping and nothing changes. You suck in the front, pulling with your arm, keeping the board to your feet. As you go through coping or even your pretend coping, and you suck in the back, you're using the hand to keep the board to your feet. As you do the same turn motion you would for a frontside kick turn or a frontside slob kick turn, you put the landing gear down when you know you're below the coping, or you can hold on and squat it out if you want to, and you ride away, shoulders aligned with the landing. If I ever slide out, it's because my shoulder's going one way and the board's going another. But when I make a conscious effort to keep the shoulder with the board, your shoulder should be with the board when you land, especially with an early grab, because you're holding on and your shoulder's like on the front of the board or level with it because you're pulling. That's it, fam. This is a real fun one. It's stylish. You can start doing them later if you want. I early grabbed this one. It's super fun. That's about a 4 foot. I would imagine we started our pretend coping was 2.5. Then we went to almost 3, and then finally we went to 4. That's actually a little taller than 4 feet, but not that much, just a few inches. All right, I appreciate you. Hope you like this one. Let me know if you got any questions in the comments. Peace.